Okay, so we're going to be doing a big, huge project today together. I have tried kind of everything higgledy-piggledy to get a storage solution for my ephemera. And once I did my big craft room cleaning this year and I realized how many different kinds of ephemera I have and how it had gotten out of control. And I wasn't using it because it's just all over my room. And another thing that drives me nuts is people say all the time that you should make stuff ahead. And I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. Like I made these years ago, right? And they're very cool and I could have used them in my artwork, but I have no idea where they are. And even if I did want to find them, I would never be able to find them. So we are going to today use a new solution that combines things that I already do. So I already love using my old die envelopes from Sizzix or from wherever I buy dies to keep stuff stored. And these guys are called paper dolls, and they were stored in my one desk drawer in these little envelopes. So I had like 5 or 6 of these little envelopes in that desk drawer, and I didn't know where those were. If I needed a paper doll, I would go to my desk drawer and find them there. But that is not a final, like, yeah, that works. I know where the paper dolls are. But all this is everywhere else. I mean, and I have cute stuff from all over the place. This is from the dollar store. And I see people using all kinds of cute stuff all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I would go to the dollar store and get some more of these. But then, honestly, I had no idea that I still had these. I did a project just the other day, the funky guy. He had these wings in the background, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was such a cool project. I wish I had more butterfly wings. I just came in here and looked, because I had just thrown everything ephemera I found in this box. And there are more butterfly wings. So today we are going to use a solution that I think will work for me. I don't know if it'll work for you, but I'm going to tell you why it'll work for me. I am going to use the plastic storage envelopes, uniform size plastic storage envelopes, in a storage box, and then I am going to have different kinds of solutions for different kinds of ephemera that I will show you as I go. So this is the box that I am, oh, and I also used before this snapbook. So the giant box didn't work, obviously. I did use this snapbook and I liked it. It was nice. I didn't hate it. I wasn't upset with it, but it definitely didn't, like these things came out super easily. Yes, I could grab it, but I'm not the kind that's going to go flipping through all this to figure out what I have. I want to know where all like the baseboards and the frames and the things are. This is ephemera I made. This goes back to my problem of I would love to use ephemera that I make, but if you asked me, and I follow Dana K. White, who's an amazing organizer. I am not an organizer, obviously. But she says the questions you want to ask when you're going to get rid of something is, do I know I have it? And I don't know I have these because they're in a back of a flip book. And why would my made things be in the back of a flip book on my shelf? And I would never go look for them. So this solution didn't work. I thought it was not, as I said, they fall out. I think it was a nice solution. If you're on a budget, for sure go with this one. But then I found, let's put this over here. I found this solution, which is a scrapbook.com box. And I have another one of these. So I have already used this to organize a series of stamps from Tim Holtz that's all one kind of stamp. So it's all little houses. And so I have a box over there that has little houses. So I know that I like using this system. The nice thing about this is it came with, I think, 15 of these envelopes. Okay, so number one, they're bigger than the other envelopes. They're all a uniform size. I love using this size envelope. I'm very good at it. I have experience. If you don't know if you want to try this system, maybe buy some of the envelopes first and see if you use the envelopes. The reason I like them is because they're clear and you can see what's in them without having to open them up, right? And then the nice thing about this is it has dividers. So I love little people who say that they label everything. I think I can label 6 things. I can't label 1,000 things. Or if I find out that my paper dolls, if I have too many of them, let's see, how many of these envelopes could you get in? There's one. Where'd that other one go? Just width-wise. There's 2. And you could probably go, so I could maybe go 3 sets of paper, 3 fat envelopes. We're going to do it, so you're going to see it. But if I was like, okay, I'm going to keep all my paper dolls in this big section and all the Tim Holtz pictures, because I feel like those go together because he sells them together, then I could make a bigger section for that. And I think it would be a much bigger section because I took out 2 of them. So anyways, I am going to, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start sorting my ephemera. And I'm going to come back and tell you how I sorted it. Because I don't think you want to watch me sorting ephemera. I think that would be the most boring YouTube television ever. But I would like to show you kind of the choices I made and how I did it. You definitely don't need to do it my way. It's just how I think about ephemera and how you might, it might spark a way for you to think about ephemera and how you might want to use it in your craft room. All right, I'm going to go sort and I'll be back. If you had asked me how long I thought it would take to sort my ephemera, that giant box of it, I would have said at least a couple hours. It took an hour. That's it. So there's some majorly easy things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the majorly easy things to put into a single envelope. So I already started 2 of them. This is Poppy color that I made. Some of it's washi tape in small pieces and some of it's washi tape borders that I made. And I use that as pops of color on the edge of artwork. So that was a super easy one to make. You know what? I'm making a decision right now. I want the color to face the front in all these envelopes, and then you want to kind of spread your stuff out a little bit so it doesn't make a little fat belly at the bottom, and then just flip it over and there we go. And so all those pieces that were just floating around not doing anybody any good are in this container. Here is another one that was super easy for me. Tim Holtz has these little quote chips that have words on them, and I find those to be different from anything else, and I don't use them very often, but when I do, I know I go over there and I go, oh, I want one of those little Tim Holtz quote chip things. So let's see. So that's just going to be a little bit thick because they're thick. They're like, they're about cardboard thick size. So that one's a little fatter. See how much fatter that one got than this one? Just how it is. Okay. Another super easy one that I'm way excited about is I love when Tim Holtz does, oops, I got a extra one in here. I love when Tim Holtz does transparency stuff. And I knew I had a whole bunch of it, but I had literally no idea where any of it was. And if it was anywhere, it was all kind of higgledy-piggledy with everything else. I am pleased to announce that all of the transparency stuff is going in one container. Bink. So excited. Okay, let's put it forward. Because if I'm looking for something transparent, I'm looking for something transparent. I'm not looking for a piece of ephemera and then hoping it's transparent. I look for transparent things. That's just how I do my art. Yours might be done different. Okay, so that was an easy peasy one. All right, another easy peasy one. Whoo, this one's so easy. Stamps. Actually, I lied to you. This one's not so easy. I'm going to make a stamp one, and then we're going to have to swing back around and talk about whether I think a stamp one is by itself or whether we put stamps and tags together. I think it depends on how many envelopes I have, because these stamps aren't going to fill this up, but I love stamps. And just so you know, these are postage stamps I bought on eBay. These are stamps I made with regular stamps. These are stamps that I have in my free printable collections. I don't care what it is. I just think, oh, I should have a stamp here. So that is, oh, I just seen one. We're not going to try to get them all out, but I'll tell you about my next section, which was super easy for me. And you're going to find some sections are like, bada bing, this is how I make art, and that's just how the world works. And so this stamp envelope is super easy for me. Okay, another envelope that was super, I'm using these scrapbook.com project trays for this. So this was another super easy for me envelope. This is what I'm calling Flora and Fauna. So I'm going to put this in the back because this is really pretty delicate things. Okay, Flora and Fauna is birds and flowers, and it's a combination of my printables, stamps with flowers, bee printables, flowers that I had die cut out of, speaking words, I've been thinking too much, tissue paper, flowers cut out of glitter paper, and then Halloween bats and animals and critters and things like that. So I am thinking I am going to have 2 Flora and Fauna because I don't want to get my stuff all smooshed up in there. So we're going to get another envelope, and this guy is going to go on the back of that just to kind of try to keep him safe. Will he go tall? He'll go tall. Excellent. Excellent. And all of these are flowers or birds or bees or roses. I don't tend to use those a ton. I do tend to use flowers a bit, but it's not the first thing that comes to mind when I'm making my collage art. And if I know that the flowers are in with the Flora and Fauna, I can just go find them. Oh, and the other thing that went in there is Easter-y stuff. So like little lambs, there's a couple chicks, this is kind of a nicer section than except for the bats and the ravens. But this is a little bit nicer section than most of what I do. I like grungy, steampunky looking, dark and moody stuff. So that was a super easy, it's not easy to pick up, but it's a super easy envelope for me to just knock out of the park. Not a bother. And now that I think about it, I am starting to think that when I organize the 2 buckets, I'm going to start thinking about a bucket that goes over on the other side of the room and a bucket that stays on this side of the room, right? So there are things that I definitely don't use every day. I don't use Flora and Fauna every day. I might use a little bit of it more around Halloween because there's bats in there, but that's not really a thing for me. Okay, here's another one that was super easy for me, round things. And now this isn't every round thing, but this is like gears and circles. Tim Holtz had a whole section of these. Now this is where, for those of you who like a rule and it drives you nuts if there's no rules, this is going to drive you nuts. So these are the hard circly bits that I actually wound up putting over in a different storage system. But I put the circle ones of them in here because I would look for them as a circle rather than looking for them in that hard bit. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you if you made me. Okay, here is another really easy section for me. This is architectural and curtains. So these are all frames and mirrors. These are out of that, most of these are out of that hard chipboard. Some of them are out of a little bit lighter paper. So we're gonna go, I know just where these are gonna go. They're not gonna go in an envelope. They are gonna go over here with the rest of the hard chip things. So these guys are gonna come right here. Giving me trouble, hard things. Okay. I need to make sure they don't go up too high because this little shelf goes right into my, fits right in. Oh, yeah. We can move those over here. Those will not go sideways, or any of these other ones. That one's little enough. That one's little enough. And then these guys, I don't want to get hurt, so I think I am going to put them down in here because then I know they will go down. Now, if you're freaking out about mixing this bin, first off, I can just take this off and put it over here for a second. Second off, this isn't stuff I'm going to use by a long shot every day. This is like once a year kind of stuff. Or maybe more than that, because I do frames. I do like peep through pages in my books and things like that. But this is not an everyday solution. I don't have to worry about this being super easy to use. This is just over on the side. And it fit, you guys. It's over by the other ephemera that I put into little jars, so it's the perfect place for it. Okay, this is a question mark. Oh, these are easy. Okay, these I consider to be background size of ephemera. So this is a bunch of Tim Holtz. These are Ranger ink, I think. In theory, I might pull out the people, but I'm probably going to do that as I go. So let's get some folders going for our backgrounds. And I could actually, now that I come to think of it, okay, these are big backgrounds. Big. That's kind of, these guys are starting to get into mediums. I'm kind of thinking I might want to split them, just having looked at that, into big and little. These feel big to me. Big and little. Because there's some pretty small ones. Playing cards, regular playing cards. Yeah. I think the big ones... Oh, is that a photograph? No. I think the big ones are going to be used way less than these little ones. Because I do use those little ones in my artwork a lot. So maybe we'll separate them out by big and little, which is fine. I'm going to separate them. I'll be right back. Okay, I got the bigs put away. And the envelope's fat, but that's fine. Those are not my favorite ones that I'm going to be using. These are the size, way more the size that I use consistently. So let's see what we can fit in one. And I don't want this one so packed I can't use it. I would rather have this in two and have that one be totally packed. Yep, I'm going to do two for this one. 1, 2, I feel like the count. 1, 2, 3. And that is a really good size for me that I use a lot. So that makes me happy. Okay, here we go. Perfect. This is a pretty easy one for me. This is tags, like actual, oh, a stamp. I'm gonna just put it in there because it'll be fine. I love these actual tags. They're fake. They're Tim Holtz. Some of them are real. I bought some on the internet. But we're gonna put all those tags in there. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Now, I'm not organizing. Let's talk. So, some of you guys, I watch this lady, she's called Cass, and she's the Clutterbug. And she has categories in her organizing and house cleaning and system. These are all borders and tags, because sometimes my tags come in long lines and sometimes my tags are little like this. So I don't know where these little tags should go. If they're a one tag, do I put them in with the little stuff? That should be in flora and fauna. Do I just keep long tags as borders? Oh, look, a couple of my things got in here. I'm just going to kind of, this could probably be a little bit more fluid one that I'm not positive about. But I do love using tags, and I do love having borders. So that's an iffy one. I'm not positive, but you can tell what it is by that. Oh, yeah. I love making little tickets and tags. I just love that. Okay, this is going to be, I'm going to have to go get some more of envelopes out of the other one. Okay, this is little bitsy things. I love bitsy things in my art. These are going to be right in the front because I'm going to use them all the time. Look at this. This is, I got these 5 playing cards from like a weird decorating thing for the Kentucky Derby. And we were going to talk about Cass, the organizing lady. Okay, some of you are losing your minds, and you're like, I would never find anything again. I have to have everything labeled and sorted, and you wouldn't just sort it into small ephemera. You would sort it into Tim Holtz small ephemera, real small ephemera. I thought I was going to sort out the little books, but I didn't have very many of those. And I thought I was going to sort out these guys, but I don't have very many of those either. So those aren't going to, if there wasn't enough of one thing, then I'm just going to put it into the bigger category. Because I don't want a billion little things. She talks about 4 different kinds of people of how people organize. And it starts with, are you a visual organizer? So I'm a visual organizer. I have to see all my stuff. And visual organizers who like big categories, like little things I use in my art, are called butterflies. And so I am and I'll put a link to her in the thing below. She was really helpful because last year, I did a little organizing thing where I bought all these cute tins that have a clear top. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to put all my stuff into cute tins with a little clear top. And then that's just not how I organize. Now, the reason these will work for me is I'm just going to grab this envelope to start with and use stuff out of it until it's used up and then put the rest in here. I'm not trying to micro-organize into smaller things. Now here, we got weird things over here. Okay. So these are numbers, and you know what I'm going to do with those? Even though this one thing is giant. Ooh, where'd the giant thing go? I think numbers and letters go together, so I'm going to put these numbers in this quote chip envelope. I don't need a separate envelope for numbers. If you are a micro organizer, you might need a separate envelope for numbers. I don't. You organize the way you like. I have to say these little trays were a lifesaver for this. Okay, this is an interesting one because these are all things that I have made, and I know what kind of stuff I made. I'm probably going to try to have way more of these later this year, where I go ahead and make ephemera, because I like my ephemera. I just never wanted to make it because it would disappear into the ether. And so it seemed like a really ridiculous thing to do. I had it in a cigar box. And once you close the lid of the cigar box, it's gone forever. So I'll be able to see that I have these tabs. I have tab issues. And then I'm just going to put all this stuff in here that's just generally stuff I made. Now that may look at all these cool background things. Eventually I may have cool backgrounds I made. I may have numbers I cut out. I may have other categories, but right now I only have enough for one envelope of things I made, and there's no sense. This is like when you move into a house. There are people who move into a house and want everything to be perfect on day one. And so they'll go buy all this stuff, and then they're like, oh, we didn't need this, and we didn't need that. We bought this thing, and we didn't need it. And so I feel like that with my organizing systems. I really love these. These are fabric. And I want to use a lot more art in my fabric this year. I want to use a lot more fabric in my art. I've even bought some fabric from Tim Holtz and Seth Apter. So I definitely want a fabric section. Those are so cute. I love that. Maybe a fabric and string. Let's put the piece of string I found in there. And that is going to be little pieces of fabric. Right now it's not very exciting, right? It's just not. But as I do more fabric things, it will get more exciting. These are pieces of tissue paper. Now, I have a lot of tissue paper, and I'm not going to use a whole sheet, but let's see if and I love tissue paper. I just have never been able to store it in a way that it was accessible to me. Oh, there's another fabric. Yes. And then these guys are like little silver chippy things. And they are not something I would use every day, but they're very cool. And so I want to take them out because if they're in a little container somewhere, they don't exist to me. Maybe you can organize your stuff more easily than I can. I had a lady on my last video. She was super sweet about it. She's like, you don't label anything. And I'm like, no, I do not label anything because I just can't. It's too much work and it's too hard. So I have to make systems where I can find things, or at least I know where to start looking for things visually. Okay, so now I'm going to sort my stuff. The paper dolls are over there. I have to work those out. They're a little bit bigger situation. I think I will wait until I have these all in the boxes and show you kind of how I decided I was going to set up the boxes. I'll be back. It is now not even 2. So I figured it would take days to organize this ephemera, or at least like 4 or 5 hours. It took an hour and a half. So I'm a bad judger of how long things will take when I don't want to do them. So this is the second box. So the first thing I noticed was I have a lot of freaking paper dolls. So those are all the size. Those are large size. These are regular size. These are tiny size. These are, I think these are the children. Yep, I'm glad they're backwards. I don't use children a ton in my artwork. And then these are the portraits, which are larger size. Lovely. No more paper dolls for me. That's the only thing I'm going to put myself on reserve. I don't need any more paper dolls. I'm good. These are, I think they're called photo booth. They're pictures of people. And then I have 2 sets of fake photographs, which I do use a fair bit. The nice thing about fake photographs is that real photographs, usually you can't use the chemicals in the art supplies could melt them, or they could, like if I use embossing on them, they melt. A lot of melting. Okay, this is that name things, and then those silver chips. This is circles. This is flora and fauna, both of those. This is a couple of different weird things. This is from Dina Wakley, little sayings, which I haven't used much. And then I have a whole bunch of stickers here in the front. I haven't used them much, so they got to go over there. This is not me being aspirational about my artwork. This is me organizing things and knowing that my ephemera is only in one of two places. It's either going to be in that box, which is going to go on the other side of my office, or it's going to be in the next box, which is going to be on this side of my office, so that I can use the stuff. There's not, like, there's always things that I think, oh, I'll just use that, and I get it and I don't use it, or like I don't use very much flora and fauna. It comes in ephemera packs I get. I just don't happen to use it much. It's fine. It's nothing wrong with that. That's just how I do my art. So this is my, I'm going to use it this year stuff. And this is, I put all my stuff in the back that I'm making, just because the back and the front are the easiest for me to remember. Not because I'm putting myself down. I just find the back easy to remember. So this is all my colorful things. This is fabric, and this is tissue paper. Those are things I want to work on this year. In the middle here, we have transparencies and then stuff I made. I do want to make more stuff. And if so, I have lots of room in here. This is the borders and tags, which I use a lot in my artwork. These are the medium backgrounds, which I use a lot in my art. These are large, one set of large backgrounds. I should move these guys forward and these guys back. So far, that's the only change I've had to make. Good organizing, me. These are tags. I love tags. They're a favorite. Stamps. I love stamps. And then the two up front are the tiny ephemera. And that is the majority, like, so this one really is for all the stuff I use frequently in my artwork. There's a slight chance I'm going to put it on my desk, but I also do have a couple of areas in my craft room where, in fact, I have a spot right next to me I could put it. I just moved my distress stain back, or my distress inks back there, because I don't use them all the time. I use ephemera all the time. So hopefully that helps. I'll put links to all the things that I used today. And Tara Jacobson, Artsy Fartsy Life.